I'm ready for all today, through all the pain, all the way, the fight for all, my life, the love, we're taking it all the way,
Like, baby, it's time. I could try to sit here and come up with an intricate, entertaining introduction, but you know what? We're sitting here, we're looking at our phones, we're counting the time, we're waiting to hear 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now. And just, hey, by the time you're listening to this episode, Thursday night will probably have passed. And right now we're looking on Friday, as Belichick would say, we're on to Cincinnati. But for us, we're on to Brazil. That's where we are right now, because you know what? The party is starting in the South America. You know, unfortunately, though, you know, alongside Tip, Nader, welcome to 32-Bit Nation. We're going to be talking about this season in advance, a little bit of over-unders and all that good stuff. But I hear a lot of the Eagles players, they're not happy about going to Brazil. But Tip, I haven't really looked too much into that. Do you know too much?
No, I did hear. I heard. I believe it was one of the cornerbacks. The name is escaping me, but anyway, he was sharing his displeasure about going to Brazil. And you know, I don't understand. Brazil's a beautiful country. I've been there. I have not been to Sao Paulo. I went to Rio, and it's beautiful country. It's full of fun people. They're very friendly. So I think they're gonna have a good time. But you know what? They're not there to have a good time. They're there to hit each other and win a game. So it's not going to be a real, you know, chance for them to do much out there. But like I said, it's going to be something new. Brazilians do like football. Now, of course, you would think that they like just soccer football, but they do. But they also like American football, too, because when I was out there, I did ask people about, you know, American football, or football Americana is what they call it out there. So, yeah, it's something that's going to be interesting. Big population in Sao Paulo, so it's going to be fun. It's the Eagles versus the Green Bay Packers. I mean, like, this is two premier teams, two teams that a lot of people are high on, and a lot of people could possibly say might meet in the playoffs at some time. And if that happens, this could be a preview of that.
I mean, I'm going to have to fully agree with you, but I'm going to have to pause the conversation for a quick moment, because right now, I was talking to you a little bit a moment ago. Right now, I'm in the middle of a standard draft. You know, okay. I always recommend people be in a standard league, just one standard league, just so you can understand it. Just so you can understand it. Right now, I just happen to be 101, and right now I just came onto the clock. It's the 4th round. First picks: CMC, Devon Achane, Cooper Kupp. I'm back on the board right now, and this is a 2 RB, 0 flex, 3 wide receivers.
And it's a standard league.
Standard league.
Okay.
Right now on the board, Michael Pittman, Stephon Diggs, Trey McBride, Anthony Richardson, Mark Andrews. That's as far as I'm willing to go right now on that. And I think I'm on the Michael Pittman, Stephon Diggs right now. Just double tap them real fast because I am a 101, so I get 2 picks back to back. Trey McBride is right there. Unfortunately, you got to be quick with your answer on me right here. There's only 15 seconds.
I like Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews?
Yeah.
Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews. Okay.
And I like Michael Pittman.
All right. So right now we're dodging my Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, I like Stephon Diggs a lot. So, but it's a standard league. So you know what? Stephon Diggs won't be bad there because I still think he's going to get targeted. So I would do Mark Andrews, and I'm actually going to pivot. Let's do Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. Okay.
I'm just being quick for you.
Ooh, all right. You know, we got 30 seconds. We got 30 more seconds to make this an educated decision here. So the first one, Mark Andrews, because I was running out of time on that. Now, you know, the clock reset on me.
Yeah. So now it's Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman, or that's really it.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs.
I trust CJ Stroud a little bit more with his accuracy. So I'm going to go with CJ Stroud, the quarterback. So I go Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I agree with you on that one. I think like originally I was just gonna double tap Michael Pittman and Stephon Diggs. I definitely don't mind just because I don't mind a Mark Andrews because obviously we always try to sell you guys. If you're 101 or back of the draft, either at 10 or 12, you have to get the guys to fill up your roster spots because I mean, by the time you're listening to this, it's too late for drafting season and strategies, but just to implement it for you to remember. Like you don't have the luxury of waiting for value at the end of the draft or the beginning of the draft picks because I mean you have to wait so long. Like I just double tapped them. I have to wait 22 more picks till I'm back on the board. So I mean I need a tight end. By the time I'm coming back, Trey McBride's going to be gone. Mark Andrews is going to be gone, and maybe even probably not. I don't think there's any more tight ends available in that vicinity. I'd probably have to wait till like the 5th, 6th round for like Dalton Kincaid and George Kittle and stuff like that. But at that point, you kind of lost out on the premium tight ends. And you know what? Why not secure a wide receiver? And all right. I feel comfortable. All right, now back to the topic at hand. There's going to be multiple pauses where we start here and huddle up and try to come up with the best pick possible. But all right, back to Brazil. They don't really get a chance to vacation now, do they? The good thing is that it is on Friday. Right. So after the game is over, they are able to kind of spend the weekend to do whatever they want and then maybe fly back on Monday and then restart the cycle. But the worst part about it is jet lag. I didn't look at the reports. Hopefully they actually traveled a little bit sooner to be able to adjust and all that good stuff. But I'm excited that there is Friday football. All right. I am a proponent that because I am a loser, I don't have friends. I'm not doing anything.
Wait,
Friday
Nader,
night.
I'm your friend, Nader. I know we live thousands of miles away, but I am your friend.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is I can't hit you up and be like, "Hey, let's go do this." That's the thing.
That's gonna be
so.
tough.
You know what? Yes, I like Friday night football. All right, I like Saturday night football. There's something to entertain myself with to pass about through the day, specifically for fantasy reasons. And I was discussing this with a person earlier, and my toxic trait. Tip, I want to hear your toxic trait, but my toxic trait is I will ruin my fantasy lineup to input somebody in for a Thursday night game just so I have a reason to watch.
Well, if you do that, don't put that person in your flex spot, but yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I'm that's actually one of my things too. I will definitely, because I want to see that player in action in prime time. And, sometimes there's a little curiosity. So I will do that as well. It's just you got to not put that player in your flex position or flex option or spot or whatever. So I like that. And another thing I like too is I like playing. Sometimes I like playing the defense on my defense on a Thursday night because those teams are tired. Usually they're tired on offense. Maybe they're tired on the offensive side. So you can sometimes maybe play a defense, but that can also bite you in the butt too because you might have a defense that's tired as well, especially. So it's kind of certain things that you look at. Most of the time, the players that are, or the teams that are playing on Thursday night, unless it's like one of the first nights, they have already played Sunday night. So like this week, nobody's played. So Thursday night, everybody should be fresh and ready to go. Next week, next Thursday, the Thursday night game, those teams have most likely played on Sunday. So they might be a little tired. So you may want to stay away from those players or maybe just say, unless it's a stud like Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, you got to play those guys. But you may want to look at some of those players that may not be your studs, maybe one of those guys you can sit out, put in, and go from there as well.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a strategy with the starts and sits. You're not just looking at the stud player or the stud defense. You're looking at the matchup. You're looking about what just happened the previous game. You're looking at, if you got a stud wide receiver, is he going against the cornerback one? Like, there was a statistic where, DeAndre Hopkins could not do anything against Jalen Ramsey. I think in the 4 matchups they had, he averaged about like 35 yards. In one of those games where, he kind of bumped up the average, he had about 70 yards and a touchdown and all that good stuff. But like, there's always certain stuff that you have to look at. And
right.
That's what makes fantasy football fun. And of course, we're going to be discussing a lot of that today. We're going to be talking about some over-unders, like I said, and then some actual NFL predictions. We're going to be making some 101 predictions. I already know you're 101. You're going to say Bijan Robinson. I don't have to say that. But you know, we're gonna be talking about who's winning the divisions, who's winning the conference champions, who's winning the Super Bowls. Because you know what, I could sit here and tell you realistically, you drafted your first 8, you should probably start your first 8. Unless there's an injury, but I don't think there's any sort of like serious injury in the first 8 rounds that would stop you from doing that. Like, I'm sorry, you're not benching, you're not benching Keenan Allen for Xavier Worthy, for example. Like, there's too much of a discrepancy to do that in your first week. All right, unless you're me, who's doing it specifically for a reason to watch Thursday Night Football. That's the only reason why you would do that. But realistically, I don't recommend doing that, specifically on the first week. You drafted your studs, you're starting your studs for at least the first week and a half, first 2 weeks, depending on what happens. If it becomes an absolute disaster, or you realize that, okay, they're not getting the usage I thought they were going to get, all right, then you could pivot. But right now, no, you drafted your 8, you start your 8.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on the money, unless there's like some injury that pops up, or you know, maybe they tweak something during practice this week, or you know, something like that. That you gotta start your studs. You know, I will tell you a story that happened to me years ago when I had Frank Gore on my team, and I was fed up with him that year. It was 2009. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Granted, this was at the beginning or the end of the season, or later part of the season, and he just totally went off that week. And these guys are all fresh at this point. They all, you know, they're ready to score points for your teams and things like that. So you got to really just stick to your guns and start the players that you drafted high. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, you had the confidence to draft him, have the confidence to start him. So I mean, we're not going to sit here and tell you, start sits and advice on the week 1. So we're going to enjoy the episode. We're just going to enjoy the fact that football season is starting.
Oh man!
And hey, you know what? Let's hop right into it. We're going to have to unfortunately skip the Thursday Night Football just because I don't think the episode's going to come out on time. But you know what? I'm just going to pretend like I'm talking about it and say, oh my God, Mahomes is going to go off. He's going to do that thing where he does that thing, and then he did that thing, and then that thing happened. Wild. Let me tell you, that was wild. Right, Tip?
I mean, you know, I actually think Baltimore might get away with this. But if we remember last year, the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, they were, again, celebrating a Super Bowl win. They're playing against Detroit. Detroit comes in there and plays really tough football and beats them. I think the same thing happens this year with Baltimore. You got Derrick Henry there. You know, I was just in a draft not too long ago, and we were talking about Derrick Henry. And a lot of us are not talking about Justice Hill, and that's whatever. That's fine. Derrick Henry, I think this first game of the season is going to set a tone for this team, set a tone against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I see 20-plus touches coming his way. After that, though, his touches may dwindle down a bit. I don't think he's going to average 20 touches a game. But I think this first game, they want to set a tone. Last year, look at what happened with them. They did not – they ended up not running the ball at all in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs to end the AFC Championship game. They ran the ball less than 10 times. You cannot do that against a Patrick Mahomes team. And I think that they – learn from their mistakes. They've had all this time to think about it, all this time to prepare, and I think that they really come out there running the rock with Derrick Henry. Yeah, and Justice Hill a little bit, and of course Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about it. That team is built to run the ball, but I think that's exactly why the Chiefs are going to absolutely not dominate, but handily have a handed victory in this, because I mean, they're just going to stack the box, and I don't see a wide receiver on the Ravens that could sit there and get open in man-to-man press coverage the way the Chiefs like to play, especially if they're overload blitzing. Like, you know, the Chiefs do that a lot, especially when they have the secondary for it. That's my personal opinion. But you know what? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pause the personal opinion because I am back on the clock, boys.
Oh no,
baby.
Look at him. That was quick. Oh, it's 30 seconds. So yeah, it's gonna be quick.
Yeah, it's like a 45-second clock. So you know what? I really appreciate them doing that. That way, you know, I get to go back to back on these picks. But
there we go.
Okay, so you know, I still need to fill up another wide receiver slot. I have a QB slot open. There is a kicker in defense, but you know what? At around 5, I think that might be a little too early.
Yeah, a little too early.
All right, so let's see. On the board right now, we got Calvin Ridley, Dak Prescott, Zamir White, Chris Godwin, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, Christian Kirk are on there. That's the vicinity of what I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind Calvin Ridley, but also at the same time, I really don't want Calvin Ridley. I kind of want Zamir White,
Okay.
but
I like either one of those two guys that you talked about right there. Terry McLaurin's gone, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? I decided to go Calvin Ridley to fill up the wide receiver 3 slot.
I like
because the problem is now I still have another pick, obviously. But the problem it's 2 running back, no flex. So if I take somebody like Zamir White, he's going to be riding my bench. But I still don't mind taking him.
Yeah. Why not have the depth?
We have the depth. I think I'm going to go because I don't really want Dak Prescott. I wouldn't mind it, but I don't really want him.
Yeah.
I don't really want Chris Godwin. I don't need Kyle Pitts. DeAndre Swift would be the only person I'd also be considering, but after drafting another running back, I'm not too fond of it.
Right.
There is Christian Kirk available. How do you feel about that?
I like Christian Kirk. I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and they said that he's good. So I say go Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk over Zamir White.
Over Zamir White.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. They said that he's good to go. His injury is don't even need to worry about it. And I was like, okay. Well, and they're well connected with the Jags. So I was like, okay.
All right, we'll do it. All right, let's do it. Next round, I'm gonna have to snag a quarterback. That's gonna be a must, big boy. In my range is probably gonna be like Brock Purdy,
Trevor Lawrence. You can.
Yeah, I
stack him
think,
up with Christian Kirk.
I think I kind of want Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
I've been thinking Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
He has a much later ADP. I could stack him with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. That and see, that's a nice stack. It's not a. We were talking about expensive stacks.
Exactly.
I think a week or so ago, and it's a moderate stack because you had to pay up a little bit to get Cooper Kupp, and you don't have to pay as much to get Matthew Stafford. So it's kind of it meets itself in the middle somehow. So I like that.
There we go. I appreciate it. All right. Let's talk about some over-unders real fast. Let's talk about some over-unders because you know what? This is the fantasy season, and you know what? Our players got to score points, but also I'm actually going to be using Sleeper's gambling's over-unders so that not only can we kind of go over the over-unders that what we consider for our fantasy purposes, but you know what? If you want to throw a little dollar here and there, you can see if you could come up with a couple of dollars. But you know, hey, friendly reminder, not financial advice. Gamble responsibly, people.
All right.
So let's see. I'm going to start it off with Josh Allen. He's a fun one. Right now, he's over under 255.5 passing yards.
255. I like it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals might be one of the worst defenses in the league, but they're also going to have a really good offense. So I feel like this could be one of those games where you're going to have a higher over-under as far as points go. So I would go with, yes, he's going to want to come out there, prove his, that, hey, I have a connection with these wide receivers, these tight ends. And a lot of people I don't think about are talking enough about Dawson Knox. And, they're talking a lot about Dalton Kincaid. I like Dalton Kincaid, but I think he throws the ball around a little bit. Also, you got James Cook coming out of the backfield. You've got Curtis Samuel, as long as he's healthy and playing. So I think that is doable for sure.
All right. I'm not going to disagree with that one. I think it is definitely doable, especially against the Cardinals. All right. Let's still on. Sorry, for some odd reason, I couldn't remember his name. Josh Allen. He's average. There's over under for rushing yards, 35.
That might be a little bit tougher for me. I know that the coordinator Brady did say that they're going to still utilize him in the run game. He's still going to be doing that thing. But now you've got Curtis Samuel, we've got Ray Davis, you got James Cook. I think we saw all three of them actually get touches in the backfield. So I see a scenario where his rushing may come down. He's still going to do it. Especially in the red zone. 35 is a little steep for me in this one. So I'm going to say no on the 35 rushing yards for Josh Allen because you still want to protect him. I mean, they've already lost Matt Milano. He is the guy they want to protect him as best they can. And I think that he doesn't get loose, but he's still probably maybe 10, 15 yards under that.
Ooh, okay. All right. I'm trying to think right here. A good one. And Kenneth Walker,
Okay.
67.5 fantasy points.
Fantasy points or
Sorry,
yards?
not fantasy points. Sorry, rushing yards. Sorry, rushing yards.
Oh,
sorry.
Like, okay, so rushing yards for Kenneth Walker, that's a little iffy for me. I am really high on this offense
Against
but
Denver.
I think that Ryan Grubb, again, he's going to be utilizing his wide receivers a lot. DK Metcalf, JSN. Yes, Kenneth Walker is what's going to make that engine go from what they've been saying. But 60, what was it, 66? That is a lot. That's a lot of yards. I think for the first game, I think they're how many touches will he have? You got Zach Charbonnet there as well. I see that it'll be a little bit closer to a 60-40 split, maybe not quite 50-50, but 60-40 split in favor of Kenneth Walker because of his injury history. They want him for the longevity of the season. So I'm gonna say on that one, I'm gonna go a little bit under as well. Yeah, it's just that's where I'm looking at with Seattle. They're playing at home. They're playing against Denver. They're not really gonna have to do much, I feel like, against the offense. So against the Denver to score points because look, Bo Nix is still a rookie. Bo Nix, but he might come out there and shock the world. I could see it possibly, but playing in a tough environment like Seattle, I know they're not what they once were. I still think that they should have a command on this game, which could lead to more rushing yards. But I think they're going to have such a command on this game, the Seahawks, that they don't even necessarily need Kenneth Walker. They bring Zach Charbonnet in there to, finish the dirty work and close out the game. And that's kind of where I'm looking at.
Yeah, I could definitely see him not getting the yards needed, specifically 67.5, but I think he breaks a long one against them. I think he breaks a long one or just has a handful of 15 chunk yard gains in order to eclipse that mark. Personally, I think I'd go the over.
You're going to over on that one?
I'd go the over on that one. You know what? We need like a receipts episode, like episodes. Like we need to like track these and then like the beginning of the next episode go, all right, who was right? Who was wrong?
You know what?
Out of curiosity. Oh, you already got the notebook out? Okay.
There we go, bro. I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. So you said.
So Josh Allen, we're both on the over.
We're both on the over on Josh Allen.
On the over on the
and it would help if I had a pen, but I have a marker. Oh, I have a pen right here. Here we go.
Okay, that works.
All right, Josh Allen.
Yeah, we're both on the overs. Passing yards.
Over passing yard. What was the passing yard again?
It was shoot. I gotta going back. It was I think it was like 255-ish. Let me try to find
255. Okay.
Roughly around there.
We're both there. Both good.
Passing yards, 255.5.
Okay. And then so for Kenneth Walker, it was
67.5.
67.5. Tip is down and Nader is up. All right.
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's do it, man. Let's keep receipts. Let's do it.
Okay. I like it. All right, this one's a good one. Saquon Barkley against Green Bay. 88.5.
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one.
That's
now,
a big number.
Is that 88.5 total yards or rushing?
Oh, it's rushing and receiving yards. Both.
I think he can do it, man.
I think he could do it.
Because they're gonna want to show. We went out there and we went to go get this kid. We wanted him, and they are going to utilize. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a big week one. I think Devon Achane is going to have a big week one. The Bijan, I think, is going to have a week 1 through 17 or 16. He's gonna have every week is going to be a big week. And I know it's crazy I say that, but I do feel like Saquon Barkley is going to have a big week this week, man. He's going to be the guy in that offense this week. I think AJ Brown takes a little bit of a backseat. Devonta Smith takes maybe a small backseat. I still think he pops off. But I think it's going to be the Saquon Barkley show out there, man.
Yeah, I think he does the over on this one as well. Now
so
this
Barkley,
one's might be
all right.
The next one I think it might be a little bit harder, but Christian McCaffrey. Both.
All right, you go with that one. I want to hear what you're going to say with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, receiving and rushing 115.5.
Hell no.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Not against that defense. You know, I've been looking because I'm doing a podcast on Thursday with Greg Kellogg, the Thursday Checkdown. And look, man, I'm going to tell you right now, this Jets defense last year was very tough, not only against running backs, but also tough against quarterbacks as well. I think that the 49ers struggle in this game. And you know, Aaron Rodgers going back to his home state, his hometown area of Chino, California. So I really think, I mean, he grew up loving the 49ers. I think that we see a vintage Aaron Rodgers game and people are going to be like, oh, wow, he's back. He's back. And I think that the 49ers actually lose this game pretty big. And there's no way in the world. I don't see CMC getting, 115 total 115 yards
total.
Nah, man. I think he goes under. I think he goes maybe, I would say, about where Saquon was in 88. I think that's where Christian McCaffrey is, because you can't stop him. It's very hard to stop him, but you can bottle him up. You can contain him. We saw the Minnesota Vikings do it last year in prime time. You can bottle him up and, you know, limit his yardage.
Interesting. All right, so I'm gonna pause that real fast. I'm gonna pause that discussion. I was on the board again.
All right.
I was on the board. Unfortunately, I almost ran out of time. I had to just take Xavier Worthy in the 9th.
That's not a bad in the 9th round.
Pretty much, yeah. I have 2 picks.
Damn. All right.
It's a little early.
Not a bad pick.
It's a little early.
No, I love that Xavier Worthy. No.
Okay. So, you know, remember, we were talking about Chris Godwin earlier. He's still on the board. I just don't want him.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the quarterbacks right now. Jaden Daniels is still available.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie.
Where's Matt? It's Matthew Stafford.
I almost want him. Matthew Stafford. I still have a while till Matthew Stafford. So unfortunately, I need a running back right now. I see Zach Moss and I see Chase Brown. Which one would you take?
I like Chase Brown better, this is not a PPR, right? It's standard.
Standard, yeah.
Go with Zach Moss. Go with Zach Moss.
All right. Zach Moss. All right, deal. All right. Okay. Now we get to wait another 22 more picks. Let's go.
All right.
So, yeah, you know, the 115 is a lot. 115 is a lot. I don't think he does it. A lot. I mean, with McCaffrey, he is going to get a lot of receptions and rushing yards. But 115, I see him going like 100 and a touchdown. I think that's his stat line. But no, I wouldn't do 115. I'm going the under on that one.
Yeah, I agree, brother.
All right, here's another toughie. AJ Brown, 5 receptions, 5.5.
What do you think on that one?
I'm going over.
You're going over. Against
Green Bay, I'm going over.
Yeah, I could see he can have like a stat line of like 6 catches for like 70 yards. It's going to be modest. You know, it's not going to be anything crazy.
Yeah.
It's not going to, you know, he may not even get in the end zone because I think they're really going to, you know, try to utilize Saquon Barkley enough to get him in that end zone. So yeah, I like that. I like AJ Brown. I say he goes slightly over to 6. So we both said over on here.
Yeah. I'm trying to find like a really hard one. So, all right, here, I know this one's for you. This one's specifically for you. Brock Bowers, 42.5.
I actually think with them utilizing the 12 personnel, I'm going to sit here and say that Brock Bowers does not get over on the 42. He gets a touchdown, he scores, but he does not get over on the 42. What happens is, you know, you still got Devontae Adams. They're in a situation there where they're playing the Chargers. They could look. I had a discussion last night with the Chargers fan, and he just really thinks that the Chargers are going to be this team that's going to contest against or compete against Kansas City, and there's no way in the world this team's going to compete against Kansas City. The Raiders are out there to play really good defense, try and run the ball. They're going to try to do that, and then also hit you with some play action, hit you with the 12 personnel. But you gotta account for Michael Mayer being there. You gotta account for Jacoby Myers. You gotta account for Devontae Adams as well. I still think that Brock Purdy is going to be utilized in this game, but I just don't see 40. Brock Bowers, excuse me. Okay. I don't think he's going to be utilized for Yeah, they need to stop with all this Brockness, man. Anyway,
I don't know what
but
happened with that name.
but I think that he's actually going to be one of those guys who he gets like right there. He gets like 38 yards, scores a touchdown on the ground, or scores a touchdown and through the air. Just some kind of weird play that they made up and did. So I'd say under on that one.
He's still got a bad hairline. Under.
Bowers, not Purdy. Let's see.
Yeah.
And then we got
The hairline just ain't able, folks.
Yeah, 42 is that's a lot to ask of a young man, a young rookie. I said both under. But he is going to pop off the next couple of weeks though, but not this week, not yet.
Not with that hairline.
And you got Derwin James there. That's another situation that look, Derwin James, when healthy, is a really good safety. So we can see what happens there.
All right, just because I just drafted him, so I need the input, right? It only makes sense. Christian Kirk, no, Calvin Ridley, over under 56.5.
I think that goes over. I think they smashed the over on that one. Yeah, I think that one goes over. They're playing in Chicago, right? So Chicago's defense is
it's actually kind of legit.
It's very legit. But I think that they're going to line Calvin Ridley up enough to move him around enough to where he's going to get some of those mismatches if you line him up in the slot, do things like that. DeAndre Hopkins does not look like he's going to play. And if he does, he might be, close to, not being 100%. So it's one of those situations where I feel like Calvin Ridley will get heavily targeted. What was the over under again?
It's 56.5.
Yeah, I think he's mad. I think he can do 75 easily in this game. I think he gets targeted heavily. I think he is going to be a focal point in that offense. Look, the Titans and Will Levis is going to push the ball down the field. He's got that type of arm. He's got that type of arm strength. He's going to push that ball down the field. So they're going to be passing a lot. Now, the thing is the offensive line. That's the scary thing about it. But I think that offensive line is going to be a little bit better this year. And I think they show up in this first game. So I take the over.
For their sake. I hope so for their sake. Now, all right, one more, and then we're going to talk about some divisions. Okay. Your boy Kyle Pitts.
Wait, what did you say on Calvin Ridley?
I'm going under.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just don't believe in him right now.
All right. And then you said Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, Kyle Pitts. He is. I'll let you pick the over. I'll let you pick which one. So receptions 3.5 or receiving yards 47.5.
I think he smashes both of those.
Smashes both of them.
Yeah, I think he smashes both of those. I think this is going to be a big Bijan Robinson game, and it's going to be a big Kyle Pitts game. I think Drake London takes a backseat this week, and it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to be like, finally, I got the Kyle Pitts, that I've been wanting to get. I just think that Atlanta at home, they are playing against the Steelers. Now, this is the funny thing about this. Arthur Smith is traveling back to Atlanta, but I think that they also want to prove to Arthur Smith that he did not play his players correctly last year, didn't, show up or didn't utilize them in the right situations, right packages, things like that. So I think that the Atlanta Falcons really come in hard to play. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do see that, the Falcons can, win this game by a touchdown, maybe a little bit more than that. And I think it's, like I said, it's going to be a big Bijan game, and I think it's going to be a big Kyle Pitts game. So I think Kyle Pitts gets over the 3.5 and over the 45 was it?
Yeah, 40. Shoot, I just had it on my screen. 47.5.
47.5. I think he gets over on both of those.
All right, sounds good on that one. Before I give my answer, I'm back on the clock. Let's go. And son of a swear word right here. Oh my God. Somebody took Jonathan. He just took Jonathan Brooks right from underneath me. I wanted him. I was going to smash that so fast. All right. So right now we're working on my bench and quarterback. I still need a kicker and defense. Somebody earlier was somebody took Justin Tucker. It hurt. Jameson Williams is on the board. Rashid Shaheed, I kind of like him, but Gus Edwards is also available. I'm taking him just because
Okay.
I only had 2 seconds left on the clock. Sorry, I couldn't had a discussion there. But all right, we got a minute now. Minute for this next pick. There's DeAndre Hopkins, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff, Austin Eckler, Rashid Shaheed, Tyler Lockett, Dallas Goedert. Those are kind of the range right now. There's also Ladd McConkey.
I like the Williams. McConkey's not bad either, but I like the Williams pick. Everything we're hearing out of camp is he's ready.
Jameson Williams, was it? You said
Jameson Williams. Mm-hmm.
Jameson Williams. All right. So let's see. Okay. Now I'm looking at my lineup. So I got Kupp, Diggs, Ridley, Christian Kirk, Xavier Worthy right now. Those are my wide receivers.
Those are nice. And then you got Jameson Williams. Wow.
We're gonna add Jameson Williams right there.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, so next round, yeah, it's a nice rotation. So next round, I'm for sure taking Matthew Stafford. That is around his ADP. I don't know if I planned it like that or I just got fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's good. That one, and then in that range as well. We could predetermine it just in case we get distracted. There's Mike Williams. No, I'm not taking Mike Williams. Luke Musgrave. Zeke is in that range. Rico Dowell is in that range.
Maybe Rico Dowell. I'm starting to come around on him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to be trying to get. All right. So divisions, and we're going to rank them. We're going to call our division winners right now. Okay, we're going to start off with the AFC. Okay, we're in the AFC East, and the Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, Bills. All right. Tip, who's winning it?
I think the Jets get it this year. That defense, all they needed was a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy all the games this year. Breece Hall stays healthy. I think that it's a situation where they just really play lights out defense like they always have, and they score enough points to beat their opponents. I think that they don't necessarily win this division handedly, but they will win this division. They'll be the top seed in that division.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's what, I can make an argument for everybody in that division other than the Patriots.
Yeah.
Like I could say, the Dolphins. Another year in that offense, they figured it out. The Bills got Josh Allen. Jets, they look like a very complete team. But I think it's either the Jets or the Dolphins. Me personally, like I think the other ones could come up with wild card slots, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch. But right now, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins on this one. I think their offense is just gonna be too difficult to stop, and if they just get like a stop or two on defense, they'll be set.
Okay. Yeah, look, man. I'm not big on the Dolphins because they can't stop anybody, and they can get into a bunch of shootouts. I get it. But when the months get colder, when you really need them to step it up, that's when I think that they will somehow falter, just like they did in the playoffs last year. I still think Buffalo is the thing too. You can't go wrong with Josh Allen. I like him as well. I think again, it's the Jets for me, and then it's one of those other two, but either the Bills or the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Bills just because they've done it before. They've been there. But you cannot deny the fact that the Miami Dolphins have one of the most electric offenses in the league. I think that it's going to be a situation where they kind of like just run into each other. Like it's just not physically running each other on the field, but they just don't mesh at the right time. They don't come together at the right time when they really need to gel and get it going. And I think the Buffalo Bills do that. Again, it's been well documented with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They were having a little bit of issues towards the end of their career together or their time together. So now Josh Allen has kind of like a clear mind, clear slate. He's like, okay, I don't have to have Stephon Diggs in my ear all the time. Although I love Stephon Diggs, I just think it's going to be a situation where we're going to see him play a little bit more freer. And maybe those turnovers come down a little bit too.
Yeah. The only thing with the Jets and why I hesitate a little bit is everything rides on the fact that Aaron Rodgers needs to stay healthy. And I'm not saying that's not difficult, but I mean, after an Achilles, it's not like Aaron Rodgers hasn't been injury prone. I mean, he's had multiple season-ending injuries. I mean, he had that broken collarbone a handful of years back that ended his season. a little bit towards the end of a couple years ago. That's when Jordan Love kind of got his first handful of starts due to injury, and then the Achilles, of course. I don't know, to have the whole, I mean, obviously this is with every team. If your quarterback goes down, your season's basically over, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to the Jets again.
Well, you know, look, they upgraded the offensive line, supposedly on paper, right? So they upgraded the offensive line. That's one thing. But I think that they lean heavily on the run game. I mean, not only do they have Breece Hall, they have Braylon Allen there too. And I feel like they might lean on this run game to start the season. You know, against the 49ers, they're going to want to control the clock. They don't want the 49ers to have the ball in their hands too much. So, again, Aaron Rodgers will make passes. Again, he's going back home. But I think over the course of time, Aaron Rodgers will do what he needs to do. But remember, he's playing in New York. He's playing in the colder climate as well. I think they're not going to ignore this run game. Robert Saleh wants to run the ball. He wants to play good defense. And Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, they are built for that.
Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. So right now you got the Jets. I got the Dolphins. Let's move over to the North. The Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns. This is also another tough division.
Yeah.
I think we could also agree everybody. Shoot, I can't even say everybody but the Browns or the Steelers because they may, you know what, maybe they even have a chance. I just don't find it as likely.
Yeah.
Tip, what do you think? You think right now the Ravens got this, or you think the Bengals got this?
Look, with them adding Derrick Henry, with them having a second year under the Todd Monken offense, I think Todd Monken did a really good job with this group last year. And then in the playoffs, for whatever reason, he just tried to get a little too cute, try to switch up the game plan, and it didn't work out for them. Obviously, we saw what happened in the AFC Championship game. But what I will say is this. I will say that I think Baltimore still wins this division, but barely behind the Bengals, because the Bengals, they kind of lost their run game. I mean, they got Zach Moss, they've got Chase Brown there, but it's like I feel like that this could be a situation where they don't know which running back to go to at what point and what time. I think that Chase Brown is the more talented running back, but Zach Moss also offers, pass protecting ability that Chase Brown doesn't have right now. He's working on it, but I think that Zach Moss. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a lux or a lull in the run game a little bit, which is going to be okay for Joe Burrow. But the other thing too that I'm noticing, if Jamar Chase does not play this year, that is going to be a big time issue for this team. I think he does come back at one point or at some point, but I think this is going to be something that it's going to be really hard for this team to get over. I know they got T. Higgins there. I know they got Jermaine Burton. They got my guy Yoshi Vasu. I've been telling a lot of people to go out there and get in your leagues if he's on your waiver wire, because if Chase doesn't come back, now you have T. Higgins, who has been there for quite some time now. You got Yoshi Vasu, who's been there 2 years. This will be his second year. Joe Burrow trusts him. He has trust in him. And Jermaine Burton, who is electric with the ball in his hands, a good slot receiver. He's had some issues in training camp as far as conflicting reports saying that, he's been falling asleep, and he's saying, I don't know what they're talking about. Like it's been really, and when I say fall asleep in team meetings and things like that. So it's funny. It's like, yeah, they said the same thing about Jamar Chase. He can't catch the ball. He doesn't have good hands. And then he came out in the first season and just electrified the league. So hopefully Jamar Chase gets there, but I still think Baltimore runs away with it. They play great defense. Their offensive line is going to be a little bit of an issue, but I think they get over the hump on that. And then, having Derrick Henry there is going to be huge for them.
There we go. Now I'm going to pause it real fast because I am back on the clock. Matthew Stafford is still available. Let's go. I'm going to have to hit the draft button on him. So we got another pick. We got another pick available to us right now. And I can go anywhere with it. Actually, you know what? It's probably a good idea for me. How many rounds do I got? Okay, there's still I have one. I got 3 more picks. I kind of have to go kicker defense, right? Or do you think I should just wait? Because defense is already gone.
You have 3 picks left?
Yeah, 3 picks left in the draft.
Yeah, you got to go kicker. Yeah, kicker defense at this point.
I know. Shoot. And then the last one's a flyer. So left is the Minnesota, Eagles, Chicago, New Orleans, Denver, Cincinnati. Yeah.
Are the
I'm
Raiders
looking
there?
I would kill myself before I do that, but yeah, they're still available.
Do it.
No,
Oh man, see,
no, it's nice try. But
Raiders are gonna be sneaky this year. They're sneaky good defense.
yeah, but then I gotta that would require me drafting a team that plays with puppets.
Oh wow, look at
Because
this
they took the little Patrick Mahomes puppet. I don't know. But you play with puppets. I don't think you can play defense.
That's funny. Well, who are you picking in?
I went with Chicago.
Okay, that's not bad either.
I felt like I was like, that's safe.
Yeah.
All right, that's safe.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, the Bengals don't necessarily have a running game, and you know what? To be fair, they never really had one. And
Joe Mixon was formidable.
He was formidable, right? That's all it was. It was formidable. It wasn't like great. It was that's why it's okay. Is it really a drop off between Joe Mixon and Zach Moss or Taste? It's not really, honestly. It's doable. Like it wasn't why they weren't winning the division. They could have a better running game for sure, but that wasn't the reason why. So I'm gonna go the Ravens. Just because I don't think they're going to go pass heavy on the Ravens. And I just don't think Lamar Jackson's capable of doing that. Yeah. I think Lamar Jackson is a 20 to 25 max throws per game. And I think they are at 20 to 25 rush attempts per game.
Very balanced.
Very balanced. That's what they need to be. If anything, they need to try to be a little bit more run balanced. And because of that, I'm gonna go with the Ravens because I think they're a little bit more intelligent.
And I think we see a little bit more 12 personnel, hopefully, because, I mean, you've got two really good tight ends. You just drafted Mark Andrews. You still got Isaiah Likely there. I think that if we run this 12 personnel, which a lot of teams I feel like are going to start going to, and a balanced attack, that's good for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I think I think balance is always good, just like Thanos said. Okay, so we're both on the Ravens.
Yeah.
All right. So in the South, we got the Jacksonville Titans, Texans, Colts. Notice how I said Jacksonville and then I went completely to the actual team names of the teams. Anyway, who are you going with?
This one's been a tough one. I love this division. I love all of the teams. I like how they all have young quarterbacks. I like their coaching staffs. It's still yet to be seen a little bit on the Brian Callahan front, but I do like the fact that he brought his dad in there to help him out, help facilitate. I'm gonna go Texans just because on paper they look like they are just ready. They look like they can challenge some of the big dogs in this conference. So I think that they are ready. I think CJ Stroud doesn't have a sophomore slump. I think that he does the same thing. I've come down on him quite a lot. I was really, really, really high when they got the Stephon Diggs trade and Tank Dell was back. I was really high on CJ Stroud. I was calling him CJ 6K. I was going crazy. And then I kind of started to come back down to earth with it. But I think the Texans take it. But I think we see two teams possibly take it out of this division. I think the Jaguars are going to be the other one. The Titans are just not ready yet. They're close. They're very close. I think they're just not ready yet. They're going to have a really good defense. They typically do. And then the Colts, I'm down on the Colts, man. I'm down on Anthony Richardson. I saw some things in preseason that I did not like from him. He was struggling with accuracy issues. The receivers were struggling with drops. I mean, I understand it's preseason. They'll get that taken care of. I hope that they use Jonathan Taylor, but not overuse him. I like Shane Steichen, and I know that he can scheme up an offense to make it easy and simplistic. It's just sometimes Anthony Richardson does things that I'm just like, man, you had a wide open receiver there and you overthrow him, or you don't get the ball to that receiver. So it's going to be one of those things where they have a good team, a good offense. They just gonna finish right at 500, maybe a little bit above it, and they just gonna be one of those teams. I think they're gonna be third in the division, right in front of Tennessee. But I got the Texans.
I don't necessarily have. Yeah, I'm agree with you. I think the Texans win the division. I think I'm just going to put it out there. I think Anthony Richardson's a terrible quarterback. I think in about 2 years, people are going to go, oh, but look, they're going to give him the Justin Fields treatment where they're all going to be like, oh, but look at the running potential. And if you look at highlight videos, none of them are the throws. It's just his runs. Like if you look at Justin Fields highlights, there aren't any throws on there. There's maybe like 2 throws where it's like in garbage time. He just throws up a bomb and then it ends up working out, but it's all running. It's all right. He's not a good quarterback. When teams are openly out there disrespecting you, you know you're a bad quarterback. Like they were telling people, like in joint practices, they were saying Trey Lance is bad. And they never, like players never do that. They said Anthony Richardson's bad. Players just never do that where they sit there and openly disrespect the opponent's quarterback. They'll say stuff like Sauce Gardner, when he was talking about Daniel Jones, he was like, oh, he came out and had a really solid practice. Like they won't openly disrespect it, but they'll dance around it. So you have to be like a special type of trash for them to openly disrespect you as a quarterback. I don't know. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
But I don't think this one's a very straightforward. I think Texans are going to lead the division. Jaguars might sneak a wild card spot. I just don't think so. And then I think the Titans are going to be third. I think they still have offensive line quarterback issues they need sorting out, but
I'm going
to leave it on. All right. So on the West, we got the Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, and the Chiefs. So who gets second place?
It's the Raiders, man. I'm really big on them. I think they can get double-digit wins.
Oh.
I see it, man. With that defense, if they can run the ball properly, hopefully they can run the ball properly. That offensive line is like middle of the road, but I really like Gardner Minshew running the 12 personnel. He's really good at running the 12 personnel. He's been successful doing it. And you got 2 really good tight ends. You got Devontae Adams out there as well, Jacoby Myers. I think it's going to be a situation where the Raiders really, really show up this year. They're going to be number 2, and I think they sneak into a wild card spot as well. But they could also not get that wild card spot because it's really tough in the AFC. But I just have a sneaky feeling that they get close to, if not double-digit wins. And then when I say double-digit wins, I mean 10. It's not going to be more than that. They are going to play hard for Coach AP. And then you got LA Chargers, and then the Denver Broncos. I think Denver's close. They're going to get there. Same thing with the Chargers as well. The thing about the Chargers is I think they're a year away. They need to mesh together as an offense. I'm curious to see. I think that Jim Harbaugh does add another win or 2 to them just because he's just a really strong coach, but it's just not going to be enough. And Denver, again, going back to them, Denver is going to be the situation where they don't really have a great defense. They do play in that mile high air, though. Some teams will get winded from time to time. You can always see that. Even though these guys are fine-tuned athletes, I still think that Denver falls short, and they're going to be 4th in this division. And look, Kansas City, they're the champs. Kansas City is going to have a opposite year what they had last year. They're going to blow up the regular season, crush it. They might just shatter everybody's hopes and dreams of being the top overall offense. And in the playoffs, they're going to hit a wall. And then they're going to lose in the AFC Championship game. So I think the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't mind any of that analysis. I'm just curious. I'm more of a curious person when it comes to this division. I'm curious to see how the Chargers are doing. I'm interested in that. I'm curious to see how the Broncos are doing. I'm interested in that. I'm curious to see how the Raiders are doing. I'm interested in everything about this division. I know the Chiefs are going to win it. Sorry. I think there's just too much talent in the AFC for there to be even a 10-win team to make the wild card. I think there's just too many talented teams. Like, for example, the Bengals are going to be looking for a wild card. The Bills, Dolphins, Jets, all 3 of them might be looking for a wild card. Even the Steelers might be looking for a wild card.
Yeah, it's going to be
even
tough.
Even the Jaguars. I mean, there's a lot of good talented teams in the AFC.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. A lot of competition. Interesting. Chiefs taking that division. But all right, now let's go to the NFC. Eagles, Giants, Commanders, Cowboys. Also another interesting division. But let's hear your take.
I think Philly runs away with this one. I know Kellen Moore. I know the Sirianni thing. I think that they just are so talented. I think that they figure it out. I know Kelsey's gone, but hey, Jurgens, I don't think is too bad of a center. He's not a Jason Kelsey, obviously, but I think he's going to do enough that, and Jason Kelsey has probably most likely been molding him. I know he played guard, but he's probably been molding him to get ready for this, especially last year when Jason Kelsey knew he was leaving. So I think that the Eagles run away with it. I think the Commanders, though, the Commanders are going to be sneaky. I think they actually could finish number 2 in this division. The Cowboys, I just don't trust their run game. Their run game situation is kind of like a hodgepodge of different guys that they just had on the team, picked up, from the draft last year, and then also brought in from free agency, brought back Ezekiel Elliott. I don't trust the run game. Dak Prescott, when he throws the ball a lot, he also is turnover prone. So he'll throw a bunch of interceptions, fumbles, things like that. And then the Giants, look, they're just not ready. They're not ready for prime time. They're going to be a little bit better than what they were last year. I think Daniel Jones stays healthy for majority of the season, hopefully all the season. But I also think that that the Giants defense, on the other hand, is going to be one of the better defenses in this division. I just think they're going to be so tired because there are going to be so many 3 and outs. They don't have a run game either. Although I like Eric Gray a little bit, they don't have a real big running game. It's a huge drop off from Saquon Barkley. Malik Neighbors, he's probably going to get 200 targets. He should be okay. But it's going to be one of those situations where I just don't see them doing anything. So I got the Eagles winning the division, though.
I want to say that the Eagles figured out exactly what they did wrong.
Yeah.
For them to be able to make the division, the better division. I mean, it's for them to, overcome the deficit of what they had last year and what really stalled them out. But I don't think so, personally. I don't think they really upgraded much on the offense. If anything, they downgraded with the loss of the offensive line. Saquon to DeAndre Swift might be a little bit of an upgrade, but it's not that serious. They didn't really change the wide receiver room that much. The quarterback, I don't know if he got any better, but he had a very significant drop off at the end of the, I don't know.
Well, look, Nader. So
Yeah.
When you get a running back like Saquon Barkley, that takes a lot of pressure off of the quarterback. It takes a lot of pressure off the wide receivers. I think that you can line Saquon Barkley up on the line of scrimmage, slide him up in the slot. He does a lot of different things. Do I think that they'll do that with him a lot? No, I think they're going to run the ball with him more. They want to protect Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts got hurt last year. That's one of the reasons why they weren't that great in the postseason or even before then. So I see a scenario where they're going to really utilize Saquon Barkley. It's going to help Jalen Hurts with his efficiency. And look, everybody talks about Jalen Hurts not being able to throw down the middle of the field. Well, you've got guys like Jahan Dotson now. You've got Dallas Goedert. You've got also Johnny Wilson, who I've kind of cooled down on as well, especially after them getting Jahan Dotson. I think Jahan Dotson, I get it. They traded him in division. Usually that means that, hey, they're done with him. They don't see that he can take that next step. But I think Jahan Dotson may have found something, may have, got back on track. It gets on track with a really good offense, a really good play caller in Kellen Moore, who is going to utilize or spread a offense out, by switching up personnel, doing different things with the receivers. I think that, and then you got 2 really good receivers in, Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, who they've got to attest for, and he can come out the middle utilizing the slot as well. So it's a lot of variation in this offense, and I think that that's going to help Jalen Hurts.
I really hope so for his sake, just because, you know what, I really hate 1-year wonders or fluke years, and I don't want to see him kind of be the what he could have been or what he was, or the way back whens that we discussed 5 to 10 years from now. But, I'm going to agree with you. I think the Eagles do take the division. I think the Cowboys are right behind them. I think they make a wild card spot at the very least. You can interchange either one of them. It's not that serious. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Cowboys and then Eagles.
Oh wow!
Sorry, Cowboys fans. Sorry, Cowboys fans. I mean, Eagles fans. Sorry.
Whoa!
Yeah, I switched it. I switched it on the fly. I'm sorry.
Seriously, that
Yeah.
Nader.
I talked myself into it.
Okay, I want to hear why.
Because I think the Cowboys didn't really do anything to make them worse. And I just think that they have a much more functional offense than the Eagles. And because of that, I will take the safety net that the Cowboys have with their offense and defense compared to the Eagles.
I disagree because I just think that the Eagles are that team. I think, they're okay. Their defense was their issue last year as well. I think they've kind of addressed that. But I think their offense is going to be so much better. I get it. Again, Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni. Hopefully they got their act together because it does make you nervous. But I will say this, Kellen Moore has not had a team like this. This is the most talented team he's had. The Cowboys, man, that run game, you make a good point, though. That run game didn't really change because, I mean, you had a Tony Pollard who was not very good last year. You're right. It was not very good.
Yeah.
I would be willing to say maybe number 2 wild card spot, and then they lose again in the first round like they always do.
Yeah, they're going to do that anyway.
But, yeah, I would say I would agree with the number. I can't get with them winning the division.
All right. Hey, that's why we got the receipts.
We got the receipts. All right.
Now let's go to the North. The Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. It's here.
This one's fun. I think I'm gonna go with the Lions the second year in a row. And I think that this is gonna be a big Jameson Williams year. You got him in the draft not too long ago. Amon-Ra's there. Sam Laporta's there. They got one of the best 1-2 punches as far as running backs go. They got a really good offensive line. I know Penei Sewell was a little banged up, but I think he's going to be okay. I haven't heard much from him lately. I'll double check that. And look, their defense. I like Brian Branch. I like the fact that they've got Carlton Davis now. Aiden Hutchinson, he's there. I really like this team. I like the way they're assembled. They're going to play a lot of games indoors this year. I think they got like 2 or 3 games that they're playing outside. That is it. That's crazy. That's going to be really good for them. So I still think the Detroit Lions still take it. And then I got the Packers going next. I really like the offense. Their defense is a little bit left to be desired, but there's something always magical that happens in Lambeau. Their defense plays really good there. I got Chicago next. I really wanted to take Chicago number 2. I'm watching Hard Knocks and really liking a lot of things that I see in that defense too. That defense is light out. You know what? I'm going to take it on the fly. I'm going to go with I'm going to change it up on the fly. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears get to number 2. And this is the reason I'm going to say Caleb Williams is going to have the first 10 games. First 10 games, he does not play a divisional opponent. And then he goes and plays the divisional opponent. When in those 10 games, he's been prepped. He's been ready for this tough divisional games, these tough divisional matchups. He's had a couple of dud games. He's had a really good blow-up game in there. And then he gets to the divisional opponents with that defense. It's going to get colder in those colder months. I think the Chicago Bears actually get to second place in there. And I think the Green Bay Packers slip down to number 3. Oh, I can't believe I said it, but I think that happens. And then, of course, the Minnesota Vikings, they're a year away, maybe 2 years away. They're still going to be really good on the offensive side. Their defense, they got Brian Flores. Yes, he should, help that defense out. But I think that they're still going to be holding up the rear in that division. What about you?
I'm going to go Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, and you can flip-flop those, especially in the middle there, the Packers and Bears. But why are you on the Packers?
They just kind of had their business handled at the end of last year, where you felt like that team was a threat, and minus a couple phenomenal plays from Brock Purdy at the end of the game and a game-winning drive, the Packers should have won.
Yeah.
The Packers should have beat the Niners. I mean, you could say the same thing for the Lions. The Lions had a very good reason to beat the Niners, but
yeah,
I just think the Packers, they carry on that momentum. They get a year better, and I think the Bears are a little bit overhyped. And when there's so much hype going towards a team, it is incredibly difficult for them to satisfy everybody with that hype. And I think the Bears are going to be that this year's just disappointing team. And you got a rookie quarterback, growing pains. They made some minor upgrades to the offensive line, but they're still going to have issues there. We're still questionable about the coaching staff. And I mean, there's a lot of hype towards Caleb Williams, but realistically, and I don't want to say realistically, I just want to see him make on schedule plays. I want to see him be in rhythm and not consistently have a highlight reel play where you break the pocket, roll outside, and then throw a deep bomb and somebody's able to come up with a catch. You got to be able to hit those slants, the drags, the overs, the crossing routes and all that stuff, which we haven't really seen him do, specifically this preseason. All his highlight plays were those broken down plays.
Right. Okay.
But all right. So I mean, this one, I think we're a little bit more in unison on this one. I think kind of like us and then the AFC North with the Ravens. I think we're both kind of on the same page for the most part. I know we flip-flopped the Packers and the Bears, but I don't think either of them make the playoffs, so it's not that serious. All right, so the Buccaneers.
Wait! You don't think the Packers make the playoffs, and you have them at number 2?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other NFC teams that are going to be in contention for the playoffs, right? I think either the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Cowboys, or the Eagles in those divisions, and then when we go to the West, you have the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Niners. I don't think the Cardinals will get there. There's just a lot of potential wildcard teams.
Okay. I could get with that.
Yeah. So all right. So the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons.
I mean, it's got to be the Falcons, man. They're the most complete team there, and then they just added Justin Simmons. They just added Matt Judon. I think they're the most complete team, but it wouldn't shock me if the Bucks. Todd Bowles just has a way of just coaching up his players. He doesn't do it very ferociously or very emphatically like a Dan Campbell would, but he just has a way of just sitting there analyzing the game and just letting the game come to him, and then he just makes those adjustments. And this offensive line has gotten a little bit better, and if that offensive line has gotten a little bit better, I actually like Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White can take over the backfield. I know they got Bucky Irving. I get it. Bucky Irving is like a Rachaad White, but he's a lot smaller than Rachaad White is. They still got Mike Evans. They still got Chris Godwin, who I know you just passed on. I just think it's one of those situations where we see the Bucks really hold their own. They're going to play pretty decent defense. They still got Levante David. They still got Antoine Woodfield. And then if we go to the New Orleans Saints, they always play tough at home. They've got Clint Kubiak, who I think is very, very, very sneaky. He's a sneaky pick for coaching hire for them, because they had Pete Carmichael for the last, however long, and his offense just got stagnant. So the New Orleans Saints are always going to play pretty decent defense, especially at home. Derek Carr, man, you had to see Derek Carr, or I got a chance to see Derek Carr with the Raiders. He's just the kind of that meh quarterback, and he's that meh quarterback in New Orleans as well. And, he showed it last year. This year, he's a new offense again, so he's got to learn it again. So he's not going to be, he's going to be meh. That's all you can say. And then you go to the Falcons. How I feel about, Bijan. I like Kyle Pitts in that situation. I like Drake London. They have one of the better offensive lines in the league. I'm really high on them. I think that they can run away with this division. Not like just completely run away, but I think that they can reel off double-digit wins faster than any other teams. And just they are so much, like the other teams just can't play catch up. And then of course the Panthers. They're going to be much improved. I love Dave Canales, man. I think that guy right there is one of the premium prime time coaches that you want on your team. I'm so happy that he got an opportunity to coach Bryce Young, because I think Bryce Young is going to have a huge year, compared to last year. It's going to be a complete 180. He could be one of those candidates for comeback player of the year, maybe, possibly. Dave Canales is going to really do a good job with that offense. They've got some pieces on the offensive line. They got Jonathan Brooks once he comes back. I like Chuba Hubbard for the time being. I really think that this offense is going to take off, and it's going to do some really nice things. That defense is going to be so much in shambles. They are not going to be able to stop anybody, and they're not going to be able to get into a bunch of shootouts either. So I think that we got to pump our brakes on the Carolina Panthers. I think they're like maybe a 4 or 5 win team, but they're going to be much improved. And, look out for them in the next couple of years once they get their defense in order and their offense continues to stay where it is.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think.
You want to take the Falcons. You do. And you want to say Bijan Robinson is going to be the guy. I know.
I mean, he's going to be the guy. I'm not doubting. Nobody's denying he's not going to be that guy. I just don't think he's going to be 101. Where you think he's going to be. I know I'm still going to take the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers became a better team, and they were already at the top of the division. I know the Falcons became a significantly better team. I'm just not ready to put that label onto them just yet. I think the Buccaneers take the division. I'm just going to be the safer one.
Okay.
I think the Falcons take second. They're looking for a wild card spot, and then I think the Saints and the Panthers. I think they're going to be on that.
I'm not mad at it, man. I think that the Falcons are just ready. They were ready last year. They thought that Desmond Ridder was going to be the guy. I think they really had no choice. They brought in Tyler Heineke. They brought in Joe Schmo from the street. Like, they brought in all of these guys to try to figure out, man, we are on that cusp. And I think that's why they went out and got Kirk Cousins. And then you got Michael Penix as well, who, you know what, in the next year or maybe 2, he's going to be their new starting quarterback. So, and the team's young enough to where they can, hopefully keep their offensive line intact. And I think this is going to be a start of them running off, maybe back-to-back years of winning that division.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, okay, just as a side question, if Kyle Pitts doesn't do anything this year, are you going to finally hop off of his train?
You know what, man? I think just because of his pedigree, his size, speed, combination, I don't think you ever can. You just have to always just close your eyes, pick him in your fantasy drafts, and then just hope that he does something for you. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I have Kyle Pitts in any league except for maybe 1 or 2.
I couldn't get myself to draft him.
And in those leagues that I have him, they were so early in the season when I drafted him that I got him in like the 7th, 8th round. Like now, he's going way before that. I think I got him in like the 7th or 8th round, and I'm happy with it because I think he's going to deliver on that ADP for sure. I think he's going to be, I think he's going to be around tight end 7, 8-ish, finishing around that area.
Is that good?
It's not bad. Anytime you get a top 10 performance at a tight end, that's not bad. First of all, but it's not going to be Mark Andrews. Not going to be Travis Kelce. Look, I'll say this: Travis Kelce's not going to have a lot of yards. I think that his yardage comes down quite a bit, but I think those touchdowns go way up. I think that he last year had 5 touchdowns. I think he easily doubles that. I think he has double-digit touchdowns, no question. As long as he's out there on the field, Patrick Mahomes is going to look for. He trusts his receivers more than he did last year, but he really trusts Travis Kelce. And in that red zone, that's where they show that trust a lot. So, but yeah, to go back to the Kyle Pitts thing, I think the 7-8 is decent. I think it's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Travis Kelce has more touchdowns because I don't think Taylor Swift got enough TV time last year. I think she needs a little bit more.
Right.
But the Rams, the Seahawks, the Niners, and the Cardinals.
Is this the last division? Did you save that because you're a 49ers fan?
No, it just happened to be that way.
Oh, okay. All right, I want to hear what you got to say since you are the resident 49ers fan. And Trent Williams did sign today I want to hear what your thoughts are on this division. I'm curious.
I mean, this is the best division in the NFC. I'm not going to say in football because the AFC North still hangs around, but I think this would be the second best. I mean, I'm just going to be straightforward. I'm going to say I think the Niners are leading division. I think the Rams are in second, not far from second. They're right there, neck and neck. I think these two are guaranteed playoff spots, and then Seattle fights for another wild card spot as well. I think that's going to be the top three, and then the Cardinals. They're not going to be a bad team. They're still going to be a formidable team to any team they play against. The unfortunate part is you happen to play in the NFC West.
Yeah, so you say the 49ers, right? Win it?
Yeah, 49ers.
I look, Nader.
Okay,
you're my guy. I mean, we are starting to strike up a nice little friendship here, man. I'm gonna tell you, I think the 49ers are I think they regressed this year, man. And you know what? I was really on the bandwagon of them regressing because Trent Williams hadn't signed, but he ended up signing today, and that's huge for them.
Oh, yeah, huge.
That I think that's bigger than the Brandon Ayuk saga.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Like that was it for you guys. You needed him in this building, in this locker room, on the field. But I think that they took such a hit last year in that Super Bowl game that it's going to linger a little bit. They're still a very dominant team. They're still a very well-coached team. They're still a team that can travel very well. But I just think that a lot of that they went through last year, they thought it was theirs and they had it in the bag again. And that guy, number 15, just did it to them again. And I think that just takes a toll on them over the course of the season. Maybe not right away, although I do think they're going to lose this week or in week 1. But I think it's going to be something that does take a toll on them, on their mental and physical. Physical, I feel like, look, Christian McCaffrey, 417 total touches last year if you include the playoffs. That's a lot. And now he's dealing with the calf injury. And I know they said he's okay, he's better, but it's a soft tissue injury. Those things can linger at all times. He can get a, inadvertent helmet to the calf, something crazy happen, and it just
the Metcalf.
I look, I'm knocking on all the because I love Christian. I love McCaffrey, right? But I just think that the Rams are going to take the division. I think the Rams are poised. They're ready. They lost Aaron Donald. I get it, but they also have some really good players on defense. And not only that, their offensive line is one of the better offensive line. They protect Matthew Stafford pretty well. And not only that, they have Kyron Williams. They have Blake Corum. I really am starting to like Blake Corum a lot. I've been getting him in almost every last draft that I've done, except for the last one that I did tonight. I did not get Blake Corum, but I've been getting Blake Corum in every single one of those drafts. I think that the kid is ready. I think that him and Kyron Williams are a nice 1-2 punch. I think that Kyron Williams is still going to get touches. He's electric with the ball in his hand. You got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. I'm a little concerned about Puka's knee, but I've been hearing, I talked to a few, people that are in the medical field, and they said that they're not worried about it. And I was like, okay, so that's good to hear. But I still think Puka Nacua is one of those guys. And look, Demarcus Robinson's there as well. I think that the Rams offense married with that Rams defense, I think that they have enough to do with what it takes to win this division. They're not going to handily win this division because San Francisco is going to be there too. I think San Francisco gets like maybe 10 wins, but the Rams get like 11.
Do they make the playoffs?
The 49ers will make the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs. Doesn't matter anymore. I think they make the playoffs, but again, I don't think they're gonna go that far. I don't think they're gonna get to they get to the AFC Championship game, but they lose. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about the predictions for that in a minute. But I want to talk about the Seahawks though. Those Seahawks, that team is really growing on me a lot. I think their defense is going to be pretty underrated. I think it's going to be a good defense. Now the offense, that Ryan Grubb offense, look, man, it is going to be fun to watch. He's going to use a lot of play action. He's going to utilize easy throws for Geno Smith. You got DK Metcalf. You got an alpha. You got JSN. You got Tyler Lockett still there. I think that this offense is going to be really fun to watch. They're going to spread them out. They're going to win on the vertical highs and the vertical lows in this offense. And I think that that's something that you've really got to look for with the Ryan Grubb offense as well. It's going to be fun, I think. But they finished number 3, and then Arizona rounds up at number 4. Although Arizona's going to be a nice team, their defense just sucks. That's going to be the thing that hurts them. They're going to score a ton of points. Kyler Murray's going to be great. Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be great. Trey McBride's going to be great. Their running game's going to be good. James Conner hopefully stays healthy, but their defense, they're just not going to be able to stop many teams in that division or in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I'm not too like in disagreements with your predictions. Like, I think we were pretty good on most of them. There was just a few that we, that could have flip flopped here and there. Yeah, it's not that serious. But all right, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl game, Super Bowl winner. Let's hear it.
All right. So I've already said this. I've said this several times now for a couple of weeks. Okay. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes does a three-peat. I think he gets to the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens win, and they are going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And then to go to the NFC side of things, look, your 49ers are going to get there because they're that team that's built for that. Sure. They're built to travel. They're built there, but I think they traveled to Detroit, and Detroit beats them in Detroit this year. So I think it's going to be Baltimore versus Detroit in the Super Bowl, and the winner of that game will be the Detroit Lions. I think they win it this year. They added the pieces that they needed to for the defensive side. Their offense is going to be amazing. They're going to stay healthy, hopefully. But yeah, I'm going Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl.
You know what? I can't knock on that. Can't knock on that. I'm just going to go with a little bit of the opposite. I just think it's going to happen for the third time. I think the Chiefs win. I think not only do they three-peat, but they beat the Niners for the third time again.
Wow. And Travis Kelce walks off in the sunset, right?
Yeah, walks off in the sun. He proposes to Taylor Swift. Same thing. If they're still together. I don't even know if they're together.
I think they are. We would have been heard about it.
Yeah, probably would have heard about it, but now, yeah, true. Honestly, yeah, I think that's how it goes. I think the Chiefs three-peat. They beat the Niners.
Okay,
it sucks. Niners had it in the fourth quarter, and they somehow throw it away. in Niners in Shanahan fashion, that's what he does.
Right.
All righty. Well, you know what? That's gonna have to wrap up this episode. We went past a little bit longer than usual, but hey, you know what? It's okay. You get to hear our voice for a little bit longer. Hopefully, that's not a bother. But other than that, hey, Tip, tell everybody where they could find you.
Tippmajor on X. You can find me obviously on 32-bit with Nader. I'm also in Spaces every Thursday night after the NFL games are over. I'm also doing Thursday Checkdown with Greg Kellogg, and I might be doing something with Bob Harris too. So keep a lookout for that. So, but yeah, right now doing those things, doing the podcast thing on. With you guys and just loving it, man. Just having a blast.
There we go. Other than that, hey, good luck with 7 hours of commercial-free football. I'm super excited to hear that. Can't wait. But other than that, hey, good luck, everybody.
I'm ready. I'm ready for all today. Through all